Hello, Cami here. And great to see everybody. And okay, so today what I want to talk about is something that's not talked about a lot. And what I want to do is I want to explore one simple method for opening to communication with your plants. So it can. So I'm going to talk today about your garden plants, or talking and perceiving communication from the plants in your garden. But it can be plants anywhere. It doesn't have to be your garden if you don't have a garden. Don't worry. This technique works anywhere. And so the thing is that humans are wired for deep communication and connection with their environment and with the plants. And communication with the plants, for some people it can seem elusive, and even called weird or out there. But I just am here to talk to you about today. We're going to explore this one simple method that thousands of my students have used and had success with. And I'm going to break it down into two parts, and we're going to just get right into it. So welcome everybody. Hello. So again, there are hundreds of ways to open to listening to the earth. And what I'm going to talk about right in here in just a minute, it's simple, but there are usually a couple obstacles that many of us have had to work through to be able to really go for it. Okay. All right. So let's just get into it. So I would love to hear, type in the chat. Have you had experience with communicating with the plants? Have you what are your obstacles with plant communication? I'm going to look in the chat for a minute. And do you experience plant communication? Do you experience communication with your garden? Do you perceive messages from the plants? And if not, what are the obstacles? What's in your way? What are you feeling like, God, I wish I could do this more, or is it happening for you? So just take a minute okay, good. Let me know, and maybe just say, just type in the chat, I can see you, I can hear you. All right, I just make sure I'm not just talking to myself here. Okay. All right. So here's the thing. There's two things that go into this one technique, okay? That is our hands, okay? Your hands. Look at your hands. Just take a minute and look at your hands, all right? Your hands are full of energy centers, chakras, and nerves. And our ability to perceive impulses through our nerve endings it's how we interpret the world, really, through our hands. And so Maya J. Patterson saying, I talk to my seeds as I plant them with intention. And Ara and Earth is saying, knowing if the message is the plant or just my mind. Okay, that's a really big one. In my course, Plant Wisdom, we work a lot on that. Okay, so good. So there's two things that go into this technique that I'm going to break down today that's very simple. So one is, again, your hands. Your hands, it's like when somebody touches you, it can completely change your disposition, right? And so our hands are full of powerful receptor sites, and our ability to perceive and transmit through our hands it's just really for us to know that and remember that. I know you know that, but it's like sometimes we forget, right? So Meredith is saying it sounds intriguing. Good. Okay, so the first thing is just remembering that your hands, right? Your hands, that's, when they talk about healing hands, and you're like, well, I'm not a healer or whatever. It's your hands there's so much that you can do with your hands, even if you haven't been trained, right? The other thing in this technique is to know that sound carries frequency of emotion, of love, of all kinds of emotion, right? That's why the way somebody talks to you is so much more important than what they say, is how they say it. Our sound carries our messages, carries our love, carries whatever it is, feeling. And that feeling, those feelings are perceived by the earth and by the plants. Okay, so what comes out of your mouth, and this is why so many cultures, so many traditions sing to their seeds, right? I mean, I didn't grow up in a culture that sang to my seeds or my plants when we picked them or harvested or planted them. That was just weird, right? But once we have the recognition that the earth is alive and the earth perceives our emotion, perceives the energetic frequency of our voice, right? Our feelings, then it becomes a doorway. So, and if you've been doing this for a while already, there's always more. I mean, I learn every day from my garden and from the earth. And if this is new to you, what I'm going to say is just fake it till you make it, because you are wired, and maybe it's just a little bit asleep or dormant or wasn't nurtured when you were growing up, right? So I'm going to say just fake it till you make it, and until you begin feeling the communication of the plants. And it's there. It's in all of us to be able to do this. It's just most of us, we got more attention when we said our ABCs than when we, were getting downloads from plants when we were 2 years old, right? So type in the chat if you feel like you're, so many of my students, they talk about they felt like it was alive when they were younger, but it's not as close now. Like, who remembers? Do you remember really experiencing awe and wonder and connection with the plants when you were little? I'd love to hear that. Let me know. Julie's saying, I always talk to trees and wildflowers. That's great. Okay, good. All right. So, yeah. So, okay, again, let's get back to the technique. So, we're talking about our hands and we're talking about our voice. And so now so we're going to put those two things together. But first, I want to talk about the obstacle. Okay. So, the thing is that I've been teaching this and working with this for 30 years. And I've helped facilitate thousands of people reactivate this capacity. But the feelings that come up is that this is weird, this is kooky, this is out there, hippie, I don't know, fill in the blank. What have you been called, right? These are names that I've been called, that my students have been called for the past 30 years. And that is one of the reasons why we're here, why we're in so much trouble with the earth, is because we invalidate this innate human capacity. And then when it gets invalidated and outcast enough, then it starts to shut down, and then we start to not trust it. And then we don't know if it's our head or the earth or who's talking, and the doorway gets shut. And so one of the things is that we have to go to bat. Okay, we have to go to bat with those voices. And if you've been shamed or put down, or, I just have, I've been teaching for 30 plus years, and my students talk about, my husband just rolls, oh, there she goes again. There's so much cultural invalidation for being deeply connected to the earth. And if you lived, 500 years ago or whatever, a while ago, not being connected to the earth meant that you didn't survive, right? And Christine is saying, in my first garden, I naturally made up little joyful songs. Oh, that's beautiful. I love that. Yeah, that's good. So again, we have to go to bat with this kind of shame and like, oh, this is weird. So you have to really, how do you feel when somebody hears you speaking out loud to your plants? How do you feel? How do you really feel? Okay. And if you're feeling fine, that's great. And you can maybe say thank you to the person that helped validate that for you and helped you be able to be okay with that. All right. Okay. So that's the big obstacle. Now, so here's the technique. When you go to plant a plant, or you don't have to plant the plant, you can just go to a plant and be with. And so you want to first ask the plant to, like, may I be in your presence? May I work with you? May I be here with you? You just, it's kind of polite to ask before you step into somebody's aura, right? And so then what you do is you put your hands on the ground around the plant. And I do this a lot when I'm planting something. I'll put it in the ground, and then I put my hands on the ground around the plant. And this is where it just takes some time. Okay. Just take some time and just slow, we have to slow our frequency down. You put your hands on the ground and just give yourself some breaths, like 3 to 10, however long it takes to clear the chatter in your mind, right? Because it's the chatter that blocks everything. So you put your hands on the ground. So it means you got to get down on the ground. You put your hands on the ground and you just breathe for a minute. Just close your eyes and just be there on that piece of the earth. You know, the plants don't cruise around, they stay in one spot. So you put your hands on that spot of the earth where that plant is going to be, and you just feel and you breathe and you just take a moment to calm down. Okay. And so you just be there and just see how you feel, see what happens, see how that spot of the earth feels. And then after you feel like you've let go of some of your to-do list and your chatter, then here is your homework. Here is what you want to do. Let any sound out that comes. Okay. And so if you need to be alone and there, nobody hearing you, or if you feel like, oh my gosh, this is a little bit, I'm interested in herbalism, but I'm not sure about this part, right? Again, this is something that people all over the world do. But in the culture I was raised in, plants were considered inanimate objects, and you don't communicate with, you don't anthropomorphize that plants have feelings. Plants have feelings and they feel your feelings. That is for real. Okay, so you wait, you breathe, you calm yourself down, and then you just let the most simple kindergarten sentence or melody or rhyme or just something like, oh, welcome to my garden, or oh, I'm so happy to have you here. And if you can give it a melody, like again, the most simple melody ever, right? So here's just a very simple melody that I sing to new plants that come into my garden. So this is a kindergarten song, but it helps you to transmit how you feel, and the plants feel that and they feel welcome. So I'm not a very good singer, but this is what I sing to the new plants, because there are some, I'm talking about this right now because there are a lot of new plants coming into my garden right now. Okay, so I put my hands on the ground. I take some time to just, let go and feel into this spot on the earth that the plant's going to be in. And then here's this simple song. Welcome to my garden. Welcome to my garden. Welcome to my garden. That, how simple is that? I just sing that over and over and over until I feel relaxed and I'm not thinking, until I get into my heart, and that it really I can really feel it in my heart that I'm saying welcome to this plant. Okay, so that's super simple, but for us to really know that when we put our hands there and we send our energy, we can feel and perceive, and it's really just a matter of remembering and reawakening that. And then when you let your voice even just sing a kindergarten song to the plants, maybe the first time, maybe the second time, but eventually that is a pathway where the plants go, oh, she's lit. They go, she's listening. Oh, I think she's listening. I think there's something going on here. And they observe and they look for the rhythm, and they look for like, oh, okay, she's going to fill that bird bath up every day. Okay, we're going to, the earth responds to our rhythm and to what we do and what we give. So that's the very one simple technique. And it literally just takes a few minutes. But I want to know, do you have any obstacles to work through? Like, how do you feel about other people hearing you sing and talk to your plants? Right? I love to. And Julie's saying, I'm not going to be planting for a while. It's too chilly. Yeah, so this isn't just about planting the plants. You can do this with a plant that's in the ground or with a tree or anything. Okay. Yeah, Cindy's saying that noise at times breaks the connection. Yeah, I hear that. Okay, so that's it. That's my little message for today. I've been going live here on Facebook and Instagram every Thursday evening. And also, if you haven't checked out my YouTube channel over at Cami McBride, YouTube Cami McBride, I'm doing a lot of lives over there also. And you can follow me on Instagram, or you can follow me on YouTube. And I've been going live with simple tips and tricks and recipes and herbal wisdom on Thursday evenings. And so, yeah, thank you. Cooking is saying, I used to care and wouldn't sing. Uh-huh, right. Yeah, well, good. I heard you say you're used to care. So that means you're singing. And again, you don't have to be a singer, right? It's just like letting that place in your heart get into kindergarten or first grade and just sing a little, oh, I'm so happy to see you, or oh, you're so beautiful, your flowers are beautiful, or oh my God, I can't wait till you grow and I can eat you for a salad, just whatever it is, right? And so Jan is saying, I walk the perimeter of my yard each day and say hello and welcome. So happy to see you. I do look to see if anyone hears, but honestly, hope they do. So maybe they can. That's great. Yeah, you go and we say hello to the plants that surround you. Um, and when you walk out the door, the plants know your rhythm. They're they know what you're doing. They're aware of you, and so it's really for us to be more aware. So Matreo saying, thanks, I'll give it a try. Okay. And Megan saying, my neighbors think I'm weird. Yeah, anyway. Right. So we have to go to bat with this cultural premise that communicating with the earth, with the animals, with the plants, with the rocks is something that's like out there. It's not out there. It's actually very grounded, very innate, just a basic thing that humans do. But that mitochondria, those nerve pathways got cut off because they weren't nurtured when we were little. It's like instead we learned how to drive, or we learned how to, anyway, it's like whatever is reflected and nurtured is what develops. And so it's it's just all about reawakening what's already there. And Susan's saying, I don't care what anybody thinks. Good for you. Okay, so yeah, I'd love to leave me, if you have any questions, you can leave it in the chat over at My Herbal Kitchen. I have a Facebook group called My Herbal Kitchen. You can get into that Facebook group, and I'm always answering questions in there. And or also I'm answering questions over on my YouTube channel at Cami McBride. Barefoot Basil says, I was just joking that my neighbors must think I'm crazy. I'm always talking to my plants and the bugs. Yeah. I don't talk to the bugs as much. I talk to the birds a lot. But yeah, here we are. So that's this one simple technique. This video is going to, after a few minutes, it'll be up and you'll be able to watch it again. And again, just, remember the two things that go into this, and also just notice culturally the impact of the shaming, the belittling, literally name calling. Even though it seems like woo-woo and kooky aren't names, that's name calling. It's a form of bullying, really. So so it's like we have to stand up for ourselves and not be bullied out of our relationship with the earth. And so so thanks for hanging out with me, and I would love to hear how your garden responds and how this goes for you. Okay. All right. Have a good rest of your evening.